Yo, yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is Dale. You are tuning in to Crypto Street Podcast. First episode post consensus. Very sad that we are not live. Joined tonight by Whale. What's up, Big Daddy?
What's up, dude? It's very weird doing these over the internet again.
It
Night and
sucks.
day.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's like, I mean, yeah, clearly it's like the cooperate, like the chemistry and everything is just way different in person, way more fun. You can make eye contact, you can gesture, it's like, it's just like completely different experience. Like we just kept saying over and over after we did it, we're like, how are we going to do this on the internet over again? But we'll do our best to make it enjoyable for
I
everybody.
just came up with the greatest solution to this problem. I'm gonna on my monitors. I'm gonna put a picture of you on one and a picture of Prince on the other, and I'm gonna be set. I'm gonna be set.
Yeah, be there in spirit.
Yeah. So consensus was good. Everyone that is listening, we're recording on Monday the 20th. So we're back at the grind. Consensus was fun. Met a lot of people. Did that live podcast. So got an interesting project. Prince is not able to join us tonight, so he's doing hood rat things with his friends. So wish him well. Be safe. Probably plotting against his neighbor, but that's neither here nor there. So joined with a pretty exciting project tonight. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the concept of it. We're joined. Oh my God! Holy cow! We are joined with the CEO of Lolli. You can find it over at lolli.com. LLI.com. Alex Adelman. What's going on, Alex? Thanks for taking some time and joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just start with give a little intro on yourself. Kind of lead into how your background has developed into you developing and founding Lolli.
So it's definitely a team effort. I'm happy to be here, represent the team. But we all started this adventure about 7 years ago with our last company called Cosmic, and we started out of North Carolina, which is where we're all from. And we ended up building a e-commerce gateway, basically a universal shopping cart as a service, or a buy buttons. We were one of the early inventors of the buy button, and we really created a pretty cool technology. We ended up we were building with this mission of democratizing commerce, giving everyone in the world the ability to buy and sell anywhere. And what I think that world looks like is the Nike store being on the same platform as a bracelet maker in Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever they may be. And if you give everyone that ability to buy and sell anywhere, I think that looks like a better world. You enable sellers of all sorts and buyers of all sorts, and you connect the entire world through commerce. So we were on this adventure building this company, and I was at a bar and met this guy named Ryan Shea. Later started a company called Blockstack. And he had just recently, at the time, learned about Bitcoin, and he was telling me all about it. And I was like, everything that we had been creating, this was like native to the currency, with the democratization of commerce, giving everyone could own Bitcoin, everyone could share it. It didn't need any third parties. It was beautiful. It is beautiful. and
Absolutely.
And so I just got really inspired by that. The team and I kept in stayed in the space, and I think we were always just very inspired by Bitcoin as a currency, a store of value, and just an incredible technology. So over the years, we ended up getting acquired by our biggest customer at the time, Pop Sugar, to come in and power 1.2 billion in retail revenue on ShopStyle. And then about a year in, after about 10x growth post-acquisition, a bigger company came along called Ebates, and Ebates bought us away from Pop Sugar. So we got to see two unique acquisitions. Ended up working at Ebates, which is the biggest cashback company in the US, and one of the biggest cashback companies in the world. And the Ebates model is very simple. They go to retailers and they say, hey, we are going to send you users, and those users are going to shop your site. And when they buy something, we're going to give them cash back. And they would do it in the form of a big fat check. And so I thought it was a really cool model. I had probably other than Bitcoiners, have not seen as rabid a user as somebody who uses Ebates. Like, we all get, super excited when we're like sending, we're setting up our Lightning nodes or sending sats back and forth, or stacking sats, whatever we're doing. We get really excited by it. But I remember seeing this like Midwest mom get so pumped and sending these videos of like getting their big fat check and earning cash. And so after we parted ways with Ebates, Matt and I Matt's my co-founder. Matt and I started to jam on like what we wanted to do, and sort of the answer was like right in front of us. And it almost seemed too simple. We were like, should we do something else? This is like too obvious. And we just realized like nobody was doing this thing, and it really solved what I personally think is one of the biggest needs in the adoption, both merchant adoption space and consumer adoption. And that was to distribute Bitcoin to as many people as possible, and to garner merchants to adopt Bitcoin, not by accepting it as payments, which is a really difficult sell, but as a marketing tactic to attract consumers. So it serves both parties. And we went back to all the merchants that we talked to over the last 7 years, which was just hundreds. And we ended up landing quite a few merchants. Today we have over 750, but we launched with just over 500. And I was just like, to be honest, very surprised with the adoption that they had, and sort of the reasons that they had. They were more curious about how they were going to attract new customers, and they were like, oh yeah, Bitcoin makes sense. It's a marketing tactic as far as they're concerned.
Sure.
Some people want cash back and some people want Bitcoin back, and they realize that there's tens of millions of people in the U.S. that have Bitcoin, and then about 60% of the U.S. knows about Bitcoin. And I think that it really comes down to this very simple psychological question, which is just like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have $5 in cash or $5 in Bitcoin? And for a lot of the U.S. right now, I think they would rather have that chance of it being something more. And that's okay. And we can talk about it like, later in the episode, but I think price gets us really excited about Bitcoin and draws a lot of people in. But then once people learn about the principles, I think that's what keeps people around and keeps people holding, or keeps people building.
I think it's a good time too, because like, I mean, clearly you guys are on this push, to get the word out and everything. And I mean, you look at where the market is right now, and it's just very conducive to people wanting to accumulate as much of this stuff as possible before, we get the next big run up, and they see the value of all this stuff increase. And I think what you guys have done well is just, making it something that people are already doing. You're just adding this simple browser extension. I've talked about it before. It couldn't be easier to use. And so I think that's key, because a lot of what's preventing crypto from being really big is just that a lot of it's still like weird and like ethereal and strange. And, it's all these addresses, and you don't know how to work a wallet, for example, and it kind of streamlines all of that. So I'm sure that was something you guys considered at the time.
Yeah, it just makes it so easy. I mean, I think one of the issues that Ebates has, even to this day, is it almost seems too good to be true. And it's tough, because it's like, wait, how am I getting this Bitcoin for free? I don't have to do anything other than shop at places I typically would already shop. But part of it is just like, it's a lot of merchants are encouraging people, incentivizing people to not shop at Amazon, shop at our place. Like, we specialize, or we can compete on price now. We can compete on experience, and so yeah, it's really easy. You go to lolli.com, you download Lolli, the browser extension for Chrome, Safari. On this Thursday, we're going to launch Firefox, and it just makes it really easy. Some of our users describe it as this sort of like elf that just follows you around and just pops up, and you activate your Bitcoin, and it just works.
It does seem too good to be true. Like that's one of the things, when I was initially researching, it's like, how do they even do this? Like, can you give any insight into, you don't have to like completely put your business model, on display for everybody, but like, how is this even made possible? Because it does seem like too good a deal to be true.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm not too scared. I think I we have some defense abilities. I think we've just, we all worked at eBay, so we know some sort of the secret sauce, and we also have known a lot of these merchants for 7 years. So it's deep relationships where we definitely had to call in a few favors to get them to initially even take the meetings or get us on board to start. And then they saw that this is like a real market and a real business, and they've been very happy since. So I'm fine with sharing a lot of information. But basically we call up these merchants and we say, you give us a certain percent back. And so let's just say it's like 10% back. And we go to the consumer, or the consumer comes to us really, and they download Lolli. And when they go to their site, they're shopping there and they're converting largely because they know that they're going to get Bitcoin. So when they they buy that item, we communicate with the retailer through a series of like APIs, and the retailer says, all right, we give you your 10% of the total purchase, and then we go give it varies, but let's just say like 9% in this case to the consumer, and then the user gets to earn Bitcoin, and it goes into their Lolli wallet, and they can do whatever they want with it. It's their Bitcoin, and they can, after I think it's $15, they can in equivalent in Bitcoin, they can withdraw it, and it functions just like a custodial wallet, and you can transfer it to any wallet you want, any address you want, after $15. So it typically comes after a couple purchases.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, like ease of use has just been like every step of the way, I think it has been, in my experience with it, has been like paramount. And like we were talking about before, I just think that's so important because like you want to, I mean, ideally you're kind of targeting like the mom and pop, the people who, buy stuff on Jet or Walmart or what have you. And like a lot of people, the barrier to entry is really tough to kind of comprehend a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, this was one of the inspirations. I was like, a lot of my friends from back home in North Carolina and friends in New York were texting me, and we were on all these like group threads, and it was just like frustrating to have to explain to somebody how to go download Coinbase, and the fact that they had to hook up their bank account and they had to wait 7 days, and it's just not conducive. And I'm not going to go teach somebody how to be a miner, and I'm not, and I also have a moral issue with giving financial advice. So I was sort of like torn between like what I wanted to build, and I knew I wanted to build something in the space. And I think that I had a lot of frustration with just seeing how difficult it was to get into it. And when Bitcoin first started, a lot of the incentives were around mining, like let's set up our mining rig and let's mine some Bitcoin. And then it was investing. And the fact of the matter is just like so few people in the world are investors. Like, for one, it's just a huge risk to invest in any asset. And then there's the risk of the volatility associated with Bitcoin. And so it's like a tough thing to sell to somebody, as much as you can believe in it. But how do you get somebody to pay attention to it, to invest, and switch over from fiat currency to cryptocurrency, and sound money? Like, how do you get somebody to shift that mindset and to understand sound money? And the way to do that is, I think you have to give some Bitcoin to them, but the element of earning makes it's not, you're not just giving it to them. They've done something to earn it. And so there's a psychology, I think, with a lot of our users that are new to Bitcoin that don't value it as much as the people who are currently in Bitcoin, in the Bitcoin space, or have Bitcoin and understand its value. It really just draws attention to what we're to Bitcoin, and then once they're paying attention to it, it's our job as a company, I think, at the forefront of this space, and the consumer and the retail adoption side of the space, to educate our users. So releasing content on our blog, being super active on Twitter and Facebook and Telegram, and teaching people the terminology, like why Bitcoin is important, what sound money is, talking about like decentralized currency. Like it's our job to educate it and keep it fun. And I think we're in a really good position to do that.
Yeah, and to me, the nice thing about it, the whole concept of it, is the earning versus buying. You know, if you have a retail customer, a mom and pop, whatever, that's pretty new, but has heard about Bitcoin and thinks, okay, you know, I want to be a part of this, but I don't necessarily maybe want to purchase it on my own and spend my own money. Well, you know, some of the companies you guys are partnered with are everyday companies that everyone will use at some point, in my opinion. So they could see this concept and think, okay, here's my ticket to get into this Bitcoin is, you know, I'll go to Walmart and purchase whatever I would typically purchase online, and then it sends to me, and I get my product and I get Bitcoin, and I can kind of dabble with it a little bit where I don't feel like I'm spending my own money on Bitcoin. So to me, that, you know, the whole concern and mass adoption need and want, you know, this plays into it. And I think it's just pretty cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've been working hard on it.
Alex, who were some of the first retailers that you guys partnered with?
Walmart and Jet were pretty early. I was pretty surprised to get them on board. We actually started talking to them first. So with our last company, basically you can build a really incredible business with just serving every retailer against Amazon and just building tools. And Amazon was like the universal shopping cart. It is the universal shopping cart. Everyone goes there for everything. It's the everything store. And so with my last company, we learned how to sell into retailers and really understand what they want. And a lot of people want competitive advantages. And so if Amazon's going to be slow to adopt Bitcoin, then that's everybody's advantage. So we knew that going into it. We put that in a lot of our messaging, and we learned some really cool things along the way. One of our partners in mid-meeting, kind of like, he just like hopped in, he had this sort of like eureka moment, and he was like, Bitcoin is like points, but there's no borders and you can use it anywhere. And I was like, yes, that is it. And so after that was like my killer, like if I had to close somebody and like they weren't really getting it, that's what I would use. And so yeah, it just makes sense to a lot of merchants. They deal, the thing is, like, they deal in currencies all the time. Like, they're doing all these different they're in a lot of different countries. They're dealing with, you know, quote unquote very centralized currencies in the form of points, that, you know, you can look at like Chase Reserve points as a currency. For it's extremely centralized, and they make the rules and they control the restrictions, and you know, you can only use it within their walls, but it's essentially a currency. You can exchange it for goods and services. So they understand current, like, alternative coins and currencies better than I think people think. But one thing that I've learned over the years is to always understand what people are optimizing for, and it's just sort of like a mental model I sort of apply to life and business. And merchants are optimizing for more sales. You know, if you're really like breaking it down to the simplest form. And so if they know that there's a market out there for people that want Bitcoin, then they're going to go after it. And when they were, you know, if they were to put the side by side of an integration with a company that's doing Bitcoin payments versus a company that's going to bring people to shop their site as they normally would buy, they're going to choose the easier route that can prove out the end concept and increase their sales. There's not a lot of people right now, I mean, I'm included, that want to spend their Bitcoin. I do it for fun, like, but if I'm being honest, I just want to hold. Like, I love playing around with Lightning. When a new like Lightning project comes out, I love buying, like, you know, from creators and artists, and just sort of telling this story along the way of, like, I bought some like lollipop art the other day, and from this like color, she does these like watercolors, and she like posted on Twitter, and it surfaced somewhere somehow with the algorithm, and I was like, I'll buy it. So I got like one of 21. Yeah, so I'll send a picture to you guys later.
Was she at Consensus?
No, I don't think it was the same person. I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Different style. I liked her art too. That she was new to me. I didn't follow her on Twitter before.
Cool. Sorry to interrupt.
No, good question. Did you see that AR art that she had?
No,
I did not.
It was pretty cool. It was very like dystopian. It was this woman with the gas mask, and it had like Bitcoin logo on the gas mask.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you held that AR like app over, and the fiat turned into Bitcoin, and then her mask came off because she was like breathing in the fresh scent of sweet sats, I guess. And so it was pretty cool.
I did I saw the actual artwork. I didn't see the VR or the AR component to it, but like I just thought the actual like piece itself was pretty sick. You know, like I was walking by and I'm like, I'm sure this cost $5 billion, but like if I could own a copy of this, I would really like to. It's like really awesome looking.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
I would imagine like
one of those buy Bitcoin signs too, with the Bitcoin sign guy was there.
Yeah,
I mean, that
was pretty tempting to buy.
The framed legal pad.
Yeah.
I guess that was like actually the original, right?
He did 21 of them. And I think they did it to raise money for CoinDesk. So it seemed to be for a good cause.
Can you imagine that guy? Like he pulls like what probably started out as like a prank among he and his friends and just holding up the sign, and it's turned into like he's like known as the guy now.
Yeah. He's really funny. I really enjoyed him.
I think we saw that guy, didn't we, Do? I don't think we like said hi to him or anything, but yeah, we saw him walking by.
Yeah, it was funny. He walked by and I remember one of us was like, "There's the Bitcoin sign guy." It's just kind of funny.
Yeah,
dude. I would imagine, Alex, like after you got the first like big couple of names on board, like Walmart and Jet, was it way easier to approach other people after that and just be like, "Look who we got," you know, like there's no reason you guys shouldn't be partnering with us.
Exactly. Yeah, when you name drop like Walmart and Jet in meetings, everyone's like, you know, they have to get on board. They don't want to get left behind. So those were two really good partners to have early on, and we had worked closely with them over the years to bring them on again. So yeah, we really like the team over there, and we've done a great job for them. I mean, I think that one of the case studies that we've been building internally is how many people can we convert away from Amazon to all of our merchants. So we're trying to like pick apart in a way like Amazon's I guess arsenal of products and inventory, and give everyone the ability to like earn Bitcoin for everything. So there's so many amazing merchants, and I think a lot of people just sort of discounted everything that wasn't Amazon for the last like 5 years because Amazon's just so easy. But a lot of these merchants have caught up. Like 6 or 7 months ago when we launched, I completely switched over to Jet. And I haven't looked back. Like I have never had a bad experience. I get everything I want. I get my groceries from Jet. It's just easy, and I don't miss Amazon. That said, like I email Amazon every month, and I give them a report of how many dollars they're losing, so that they know that they need to come on board at some point. And when they do, I think that's going to be a pretty exciting day. So we're staying on them, and we're sort of like we're friends with them. They know who we are, and they keep saying that like a little bit more. So one of these days, I mean, we were seeing like exponential growth right now, and one of these days they'll get scared, and they don't work with a lot of partners, especially in the cashback space. But we're unique. They really understand the Bitcoin community, which I think was a surprise to me. And they're really fucking smart over there. Like clearly build incredible products, incredible company. And they understand that if you lose a future audience that is, Bitcoin community is growing like crazy. It's a way of life. It's like, it's totally different than what existed. And so they see this community, and like every few months, like I'll post on Twitter, it's like, who wants Amazon? And everyone just like, freaks out, like, yeah, win Amazon, win Moon, all that stuff. So we
naturally, like, right?
And I send Amazon those tweets, like every single one of them. And I'm like, come on guys, like last one got like 100 likes. This one got 1,000 likes. Like, come on, are you guys on board or not? So yeah, the community is like really helping we've probably landed like 20 or 30 merchants just from Twitter, like showing them these posts. Nice. And like how active our community is, and like sending them podcasts. Like the community has been unbelievable.
Well, that's I mean, great. we all know, like, I mean, crypto has a sort of like religious following to it, like a cult sort of thing, you know? And so like if you can like get people to buy into the message, this is like a bad corny comparison, but like there was a little bit in the latest Game of Thrones about like how important stories are in terms of, you know, spreading ideas and making things take hold. It was Tyrion's like end of the episode monologue basically. And I think like that's an easy sell with crypto because like it's not just the currency. It's like a this is a better way of like building the entire financial system sort of idea.
Yeah, and I think the best story always wins. Like that's kind of how like life works. I think Bitcoin is the best story. It's the best brand in the space, and we're super focused. Like I am all ears, and I'm not like I think as dogmatic as I might seem. I'm really excited about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like the first currency that I've seen that has shown value to society in such a deep and real way, and so I value it, and it's like the one thing that I trust right now to give to people that I think will have value in 100 years, and I think that it's incredibly important for society, and so I think like it is the best story. It's the best brand out there. A lot of other currencies, I think, need to prove themselves that they have value, that they have a good story to tell, and that they make sense. So yeah, the best story always wins. Tyrion was right. I think he's right.
Are there
I've never
like
seen
any
an
merchants
episode,
that?
so
Oh, you have?
I haven't ever seen an episode, so I don't know who you guys are talking about.
That's right. 0 episodes. But
We're gonna start though.
Good. Okay, we won't spoil it too much then.
See you in 6 months.
Yeah, right.
Alex, are there like any merchants that have been like especially on board? Like anybody you talk to where they're like, oh my God, we've been trying to get into this. Like we're so happy you approached us. Like anything, like because I'm sure there's clearly an incentive system for all of them, you know, or else you wouldn't be approaching them. But is there anybody who's been like kind of above and beyond in terms of interest?
It's a good question. I think we've converted a lot of people. Like I've seen people go from not knowing anything about Bitcoin on the merchant side to helping us sell, internally at these companies. And really like learn a lot about Bitcoin just on the merchant side. I think a lot of them are like really they were surprised with like how active our community is and like how many people we've brought in such a short period of time, and I think they like really like that. Some surprising ones. I mean, Sephora was like really pumped to get involved, and they've like really leaned in. They want we're talking about how do we you educate women on financial literacy and empowerment through like the beauty of Bitcoin kind of thing. So Sephora's been an awesome partner so far, and it's been kind of cool. I think like I have a sister. My mom has like always been really interested in anything I've been built over the years, and so when I got really interested in Bitcoin, she got really interested in Bitcoin. And so she was requesting like Ulta and Sephora and a lot of those places that she shops. And I think like when I was looking at a lot of the stats, most projects are like under 4% female. And if we're going to have mass adoption, with I think it's like 79% of all purchasing decisions are made by women. And so we need to help do things to change the ratio and make Bitcoin more accessible to all. And the data shows like women love to shop online, and they're shopping for their families, they're shopping for themselves. They like want to be savvy with they want to save money, and this is true for men and women alike. But a lot of these merchants that are female focused, like our beauty merchants, have done really well and have been. I think there's going to be some really cool things that we launch over the next 6 to 12 months or so that really encourage this sort of next wave of people to come on board. VRBO has been incredible as well. People that previously were at Airbnb are now shopping VRBO. I personally just like love to see change in behavior, for us to shift somebody away from a merchant that they thought was the best, and then they switch over and then they like this new merchant, they get Bitcoin, it's a Bitcoin friendly merchant, and it's really cool because you're rewarding a merchant for taking this step into this community. And then it's our job to educate them on why this community cares. So there's sort of this like cyclical nature that's occurring right now behind the scenes that I don't know if a lot of people realize, where we're out there advocating for Bitcoin and sort of teaching people on the merchant side too about Bitcoin and why it's important. And then they're seeing that it has real value for them as a seller. And when it, like, if you sort of play how that goes, I want in 2 or 3 years to go to Walmart and say, look, we've driven you $50 million in sales, and we have this active engaged user that shops your site over Amazon's, and you've rewarded them with Bitcoin over the years, and we've done millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of sats, if we're talking in Satoshis, and then I say, okay, well, now it's time for you to accept Bitcoin, and that's, I think, what will really have let them pull the trigger for the full cyclical effect of earning Bitcoin with Lolli and then paying with Bitcoin. And I think it's just going to do wonders. Like, if you look at, like, Walmart spends $5 billion a year on credit card transaction fees. There's a real business case to use Lightning Network and Bitcoin to reduce those fees. And clearly, there's a lot of advancements that are going to be happening on Lightning and on Bitcoin as well that will help for that. But I think we're at the front of the line when it comes to merchant adoption on the payment side, and the full effect of essentially removing all the middlemen that take a cut, and really making it direct payments. I think that's like the exciting future in the long game that we're playing.
So Alex, where does Lolli go from here?
We're always looking for more merchants. We are always trying to attract people that were unfamiliar with Bitcoin. So I want people to share it with their family, their friends, their Twitter followers. Like, I think, we're the more it's again the cyclical effect. The more people we have that use Lolli, the more Bitcoin activity that we have, the more Bitcoin we're buying, the more Bitcoin we're putting in your wallets. And it's just a really, that's kind of what's on the horizon. We are launching Firefox on this Thursday for any of our privacy focused people that want a great browser experience with Firefox and want to earn Bitcoin in more places. We are starting work on a mobile app that's going to let you earn Bitcoin in more places. Think of it as like going in and getting your daily coffee and being able to earn Bitcoin when you get coffee. Trying to create rituals, I think, around Bitcoin is going to be really important for the ecosystem. Right now, people use Lolli for groceries, for travel, for beauty, for vitamins, whatever, flowers. There's so many use cases for what we're doing now, but I think it's our mission to create, to make Bitcoin part of everyday life, for it not to feel so foreign. And that's what cash is. We use cash, we use fiat currency every single day of our lives, and it just feels like second nature. And part of like why I force myself to go spend Bitcoin every once in a while is just like, I just want it to be part of my life more. And I want to make it a ritual. And I want to see like the new technologies that are out there. And so I can truly advocate for it. If I'm not using it, then like who would? So I think it's like really important for us to have more experiences for more people to stack more sats. So yeah, expect over the next few years some really cool technology, really cool products coming out from our team. Our team's growing really fast, and we got some cool stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea. I mean, it's like one of those things where you see it and you're like, why didn't I think of this? This is such a good idea. Do you, maybe this is me not giving the merchants enough credit, but do you still encounter any opposition where you bring it up to somebody and they're like, oh no, that Bitcoin, that's criminals use it. Like, is there any of that at all, or is that completely misguided by me?
I think it's misguided. See, it's like, that's what I thought I was going to get. That was my initial, like, when I was like planning out like the sales process and prospecting and all that good stuff. I thought I was going to have to defend Bitcoin way more than I have. I'm trying to think. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but to be honest,
throw them.
Yeah, like I mean, Amazon's a great example. Like Amazon's not on because of Bitcoin. It's not on because it's like we're not big enough. Like we don't matter enough to, and so we have to show them that we need more users. We need more activity. I need to share aggregated data to show, hey, we're sending millions of dollars away from your site, and that's when it gets exciting for them. They get Bitcoin. They're really fucking smart. They understand it. Like they're not. I'm not having to convince them on Bitcoin, which is the exciting part for the space. If I don't think we're too far off. It sort of gave me, I'm in these meetings all day with these merchants, and I'm trying to think of the last time. I get a lot of questions about Bitcoin, and I think that I hope I've done a good job of like educating them on the why it's important. But for people that are like, again, like what they're optimizing for sales, like they're not so concerned about what it like these like nefarious characters that have come in and out of the space, or what people like say it's for versus what it actually is. And there's so many examples that I can paint of like what it actually is versus what people think it is. I just don't remember the last time somebody has brought that up. So no, it hasn't really been an issue. I think when people start to pay with Bitcoin, there's just more compliance that you have to deal with. And we've built our business to be intentionally lightweight. So there's really no integration that the merchant needs to do. It's super easy for them to adopt it, which is why we have so many merchants on board. And yeah, they've invested their time and some resources into entering into a partnership with us. But when we start getting into payments, I mean, you've seen like payment adoption is really bad. Like there's very small merchants that accept Bitcoin, and they're really just doing it because they believe in Bitcoin. They're not doing it because they're making any real money. Like I don't think I've ever met a merchant who has built an entire business off of just accepting Bitcoin, and I'm open to being proven wrong. But I don't think people spend enough on Bitcoin, and I don't think they should right now. It's not where it's at. I think that's why earning is so important to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of a tough sell, is like just like focusing on like spend your Bitcoin, because it's like, I mean, anybody looks at it like we talked about just this episode where it's like, why I don't want to give this away, like I want to get more of it. It's like it's counterintuitive.
It really is. So I think for the foreseeable future, it's the space is going to be about earning and rewards, and giving people more options or more abilities to like pay attention to it, and then going deeper into the payment side once Bitcoin sort of like levels out. Because like I think as time has gone on and we've all seen Bitcoin become far less volatile than it used to be. I've gotten more comfortable because if I were to think about like I don't want to sell, but if it's almost like you're selling when you're buying, like you're getting out of Bitcoin. But
yeah,
if Bitcoin spikes, like it's like going and buying a $20 piece of art from somebody and supporting an artist, like seems like a fair exchange for me to like I would pay more for that art, and I hope that there's like going back to like the best story wins. Like I kind of want, in a weird way, I want some of my art for me to have bought it and it be worth in the future like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think there's something kind of interesting and cool about scarcity of the art and the scarcity of Bitcoin. So I think a lot of the stuff that I bought is scarce in nature. And I think like collectibles at some point will be interesting for the masses. Digital goods, we see it in gaming, we see it everywhere else. So I don't see why it wouldn't be more prevalent in the future there.
All right, great. So, Alex, before we sign off here, any other last words you want to give to everyone listening?
No, thank you for having me. Great conversation, great questions. And yeah, download Lolli and check us out. And the more active you are, the more requests. Like we want you sliding into our DMs and like talking about us. And it's not just for us; it's for Bitcoin as a whole. So yeah, I think those are the last words. Like just thank you all for your support and everything. We really appreciate it over here.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you, man.
problem at all. Thanks for
Anytime.
taking the time to come on. And didn't you say you had a little teaser for the people on Wednesday of this week, the 22nd?
Yeah, we're doing so we made a very quiet announcement at the conference last week, but we're going to make a public announcement. I guess it's in the future, but it will be today when we launch this podcast. We just partnered with Adidas, and that was a really long time in the making. We've been talking with them for 6 or 7 months, trying to get them on board, and I think we showed enough traction that they came on board, and they're super excited to work with us. And you can go buy adidas.com using Lolli and earn Bitcoin back.
Boom.
Sweet.
That's awesome. Well, we're interested in everything you guys are doing. So I think it's a pretty cool project. And, the whole earning versus buying thing that we kind of chat about early on is pretty spectacular. So wish you guys well. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Make sure, again, you check them out, lolli.com. That's LOLLI.com. So tip your waitress, Hootskis with the boys. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Peace out. We'll see you.